On June 21st, 2017, this year, I asked the Lord to show me something imminent. I really want to know, like everybody else, what's going to happen next. I didn't know when or how he would show me, but I trusted him to do so in his timing. So 2 nights later, this is the dream I had. My husband and I were in a large building and walking down a hallway. A woman came up to us and started sweet-talking my husband. I knew right away what she was doing, but felt safe since I was with him and I could point out as a warning what she was doing to him. The two of us then walked into a room. It was like a schoolroom, and I knew there would be a lesson, and so we found 2 seats in the room in very uncomfortable metal folding chairs. We were the first ones in the room, so I chose a seat in front of my husband rather at the side than at the side of him. And we were on the far right side of the room. As I was taking my seat, I saw a Christmas tree in the front of the room, as if they were going to talk about it. And I remember thinking that if you're going to talk about a Christmas tree, I'm not going to be too happy about that. Now, this is where it gets even stranger. So the woman that had been talking to my husband, she came into the room, and by that point, I felt in the dream that she was a witch. She stood over by us, and as I looked up, I saw lions at the top of the room above us, circling around the room. They were on what seemed to be like a balcony, and that's, like I said, circled the entire room. And I knew in my dream that those lions were going to be running among us shortly on the floor, on the same level as us. In the next scene, I was laying down with my husband, but it was because we knew these lions were coming and we wanted to stay back as far as possible. We were totally clothed and facing a wall. Now, remember, we're on the far right wall area, and I was in the front of my husband, which is strange because normally my husband would want to be in front of me to protect me from an animal. However, these lions had not yet come onto the floor, but I knew they were about to, and I was checking the area between us and the wall to see if they could get through. And that was the end of my dream. So here's my interpretation. And I prayed about this, and you'll hear a little bit more about this in a minute. Some of this is obvious, such as the woman sweet-talking my husband. Now, the enemy's going to do this. They're already trying to do it. That's why we have these soothsayers. The enemy will do it and will try to talk people into this great deception that's coming, because I feel this dream is about the coming, quote, aliens. I could call them aliens, beings, the fallens, anything in this dream, but they all mean the same thing. Long ago, I read their plans, and you can find out more about their plans by watching a series of videos from Roger Morneau, which I'm going to link below. He was privy to their plans as well until he got out of that and found God. Anyway, as I was with my husband in the dream, I knew I could point out this woman's lies. And because in real life, we know. We've already been told what's going to happen. We know ahead of time. We're already trying to warn our family and friends. They just aren't listening, but they will know who to come to us, or they will know who to go to when all this starts happening. Now, in the room, when we walked into the room, we went to the far right. And Matthew 25:33 tells us that the sheep will be separated on the right and the goats on the left. This is where we took our seats in the classroom. Now, the Christmas tree is a lesson that the enemy has really been teaching from a long time ago, to bring a tree in your house and to decorate it and to put gifts under it. You can read about that in the Bible from Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 5. And if I recall, I think I'll try to put another link in here that explains why I'm not putting a tree in my house for Christmas. I actually don't plan to be here, but it's why I didn't put a tree in. I do celebrate it, you know, and you should not cause problems with your family, but there are certain things that I just can't do, and one of them is to bring a tree in the house. Anyway, I don't believe that this teaching in this dream or potential teaching was about a day or a holiday season. That wasn't what the dream was pointing to. Rather, it was pointing to the lies of Satan, as the people in those verses in Jeremiah, they bowed down to this tree. So that's kind of what this dream was about. Finally, the lions. This is my favorite part of the dream. When I first woke up, I thought, oh man, those lions, they must have been angels sent by God, because they were up above, they were coming down. However, that was my initial thought. When you try to think on your own without prayer, you can really get things mixed up. So I started praying because I don't know the answer. And I asked for confirmations, and just throughout the day, that's what I do. So when I was reading my Bible an hour later, I realized that I was wrong. They were not good angels, they were bad angels. They were actually the fallen angels, which will appear as aliens. Because the first thing I asked myself was, why would a witch on the floor not be afraid of these if they were heavenly angels up above her? And so that was my first clue. They weren't heavenly, they were bad. Satan is the prince of the power of the air, according to Ephesians 2:2. And these lions were on this balcony in the air overlooking the classroom. So like they do now, these angels have been seen in the air in their UFOs. And I believe they fly in and out of other dimensions. They're always here. At times we can see them in these ships, whatever. At times we can't. But we do know Satan prowls around like a roaring lion, according to 1 Peter 5:8. So to be sure, his minions do as well. Now, my actual confirmation came after waking and praying about this. A couple days ago, I gave you a confirmation in one of my dailies from Psalm 55. So I'm reading the Psalms. Well, today in Psalm 58, or the day that I read that, in Psalm 58, I read, "O God, shatter their teeth in their mouth. Break out the fangs of the young lions, O Lord." I mean, I just had a dream about about lions, and here they are in the first chapter of Psalms that I read for the day, Psalm 58. So that was my confirmation that these lions are bad and not good. Psalm 22 also talks about saving us from the lions' mouths, and there's other scripture as well, all over the Bible. I feel that I was laying in front of my husband in the dream to protect him instead of the other way around. Now, if these lions are fallen angels, then these beings will soon be on the earth to take part in the great deception. On the earth, on the floor with us, walking amongst us. One of the verses that astounded me after further research of lions in the Bible was when I found this. Now, we know Satan was a cherub, right? And when they were building the equipment for the temple, the Jews, we are told in in 1 Kings 7:29, quote, "And on the borders, which were between the frames, were lions, oxen, and cherubim." So here we have a verse that even has lions together with cherubim. That really surprised me in light of my dream as I was researching this. Now, the fact that they were circling around us, I did not know if this was lion behavior or not. So I did some research on that. And on a website called Owlcation, like the bird owl, owlcation.com, I found this. Normally, several lions circle around the herd they are attacking, slowly driving their victims towards some of their fellows hiding in the grass. Well, who was on the floor already? That witch. So they're circling us, driving us towards the soothsayers or the New Agers, those who will lie and are in league with the New World Order, saying, hey, you guys need to get with the program and follow these new beings that have come on earth to help us. Wrong, okay? I think that's why I was in front of my husband, to help protect him. So that's how these beings see us, as prey. They have felt this way since man was created. They hate us for what we're made in the image of God. Angels were not made in the image of God. We are not angels. We can be redeemed, but they have already made their choice long ago. So I believe these beings will be appearing on the scene soon, perhaps before the pole shift. And this is the second dream I've had about this type of thing. It's on my website under my visions page. I posted this. I remember praying and asking God to show me what I would see while still in this body. In other words, before the transformation. That night I had a dream about being in a house and hearing a noise, and I looked out of the window, which means I'm safe because I'm in a house, but I could see. I looked and saw the bottom of a UFO in the sky. And I remember hearing music as well. And that reminded me of, if you've ever watched Star Trek and the Borg, they talk about hearing our song, and of course the Borg are bad. So we might see these UFOs in the skies, we might hear them on TV, But as far as interacting with us, I know we're not to do that unless God specifically gives us a command. But I do know we're not to be afraid, and I don't think we will be afraid. The lion dream seems to point to the same situation, that as though we are the called out bride, we will know that these are really spiritual beings from the pit of hell and not the divine beings that they once were. Divine as in the good beings. Although they will appear to be light, they're going to be gorgeous looking. Again, this is why I was in front of my husband. Despite my numerous mentioning of aliens, fallen angels, UFOs, multiple documentaries seen, L.A. Marzulli, Steve Quayle stuff, my husband does not believe aliens exist. Now, I do believe that God has created multiple universes and worlds and beings, things that I don't know the names of. He's created. There are indeed true aliens that are not from Earth in the cosmic space far from us. I believe that. But I also feel that for now, Earth is off limits to those actual aliens. And the fallen beings will be masquerading as aliens. You know, and I have read and researched all types of beings that appear. I don't care if they're hybrids, star child, gray aliens, Pleiadians, all of them. And I think none of them are a true alien being from another planet. Everything is a deception from Satan. So I don't believe and will not believe that anything is good and from God at this point that comes from outer space. Now, one last thing. The irony of the television show Stargate, which I've been watching, it's amazing how much New World Order stuff is hidden in those shows. But the irony is that on the show, these so-called gods that are, the people worship them. Sorry, that's just my computer. Where's my mouth? Okay. Anyway, the so-called gods that the people worship, but those that really know the truth in this television series tell these people that the gods are really aliens. They're not gods at all. Now, this is the exact opposite of the truth, because the fallen were called gods with a little g at one time. And that's what they're called in Psalm 82 and in other places in the Bible. The Lord calls them that, little gods. They will appear as such again during the great deception that the Bible speaks of. And I feel this deception is going to happen within a few months. I personally do. I may or may not have more about this going forward. I don't know. I've been reading a lot about these beings, and it really bothers me that they're going to show up and fool people. But they will be in our skies for all to see, and I'm praying that the Lord allows us to expose them for what they are. Just like in that TV series V, miniseries from long ago, when the woman, the rebel named Julie, which that's actually my real first name, I've mentioned that before, she runs up to the front and she pulls off the face of John, the alien, one of the commanders, and underneath it is this reptilian skin. And she's trying to prove to people that this is what is underneath the skin of these people. And that's what I hope some of us get to do, is to expose them for what they are. Anyway, feel free to put your comments below, and I hope you found it interesting. I sure did while I was having it.